Good afternoon. Aloha from Florida. So I've had a bunch of globe zealots challenge me about my claim, my observation, that you cannot have more than half illuminated moon in a blue sky on the globe theory. So there's the sun, and right over here is Luna. And they say, well, that's 180 degrees behind you. And don't you know that people where it's dark are looking at the moon too? Yeah, but they're not looking at the sun right now, are they? We are under a very clear blue sky today. And we are seeing the moon, Luna, right here, right there, far more than half illuminated in a blue sky. That works because the sun and moon are just about the same size and altitude. That works because geocentric cosmology is true. That works because the globe does not work. You cannot have more than a half illuminated moon in a blue sky if the Earth were a globe, if the heliocentric hypothesis were true. Of course, it's not true. Flat Earth is true. Flat Earth is the truth, the globe is the lie. And it is going to die within my lifetime. Have a great day. God bless.
This is exactly why I don't watch sports. There's a reason why the Romans used to say that if you want to keep people distracted, you simply give them bread and circuses. And it is because they knew that if people were fed and entertained, then they wouldn't question anything and they wouldn't think for themselves. And you see, modern day sports is the exact same thing. People yell at TVs, they memorize stats, they argue over other players, and they even wear another man's last name on their back to vicariously live through them. And you see all of these things happen because they want to keep us distracted and weak. Because when you have something great going on in your life, you simply do not have time to partake in bread and circuses. So you can either be your own biggest cheerleader and create something worth building, or you can live through other people and be a cheerleader on the sideline for them.
If we actually landed on the moon in 1969, and every single household in America was watching a black and white television set, then somebody explained to me how that flag ended up in full color on every textbook, every poster, every news channel in the world. Where did the color come from? And here's what makes it weirder. Astronauts floating around in the vacuum of space, but that same flag is rippling, waving, like there's wind, in a place where wind literally cannot exist. Now hold on. Before you scroll, ask yourself this. Why does a country that had trouble launching a weather balloon suddenly crack interstellar travel in under a decade? Something about that timeline doesn't sit right. See, most people hear moon landing and they picture Neil Armstrong stepping onto gray, dusty ground. But nobody stops to ask the small questions, the ones hiding right in plain sight. Television technology in 1969 was barely keeping up with live football games. Cameras at that time could barely capture a clear image in a lit studio, let alone 238,000 miles away on a dead rock with no atmosphere. Yet somehow the footage came back crisp, sharp, almost cinematic. And get this, NASA admitted they lost the original raw footage. Gone. The highest achievement in human history, and they just misplaced it, like a grocery list. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Stanley Kubrick, one of Hollywood's greatest directors, filmed 2001: A Space Odyssey, just 1 year before the moon landing. A movie so realistic that people genuinely debated whether it was real. Some researchers have spent years connecting those dots. Think about the lighting in the moon landing footage. Shadows going in completely different directions on what should be a single light source, the sun. Professional photographers saw that footage and said that kind of shadow pattern only happens in a studio with multiple lights. You were never supposed to notice that. All right, so let's take a look at things today, yeah? It's a bit odd how some stories just get repeated over and over without anyone really digging into the details. Makes you wonder if we're actually getting the full picture or just what we're supposed to see. The goal isn't to tell you what to believe. No, that's not it at all. The goal is to get you asking questions that the mainstream narrative never bothered to answer. When you start pulling at small loose threads, the color footage, the waving flag, the missing tapes, the whole story starts looking less like history and more like a very well-funded production. Countries that tried to reach the moon after 1969 with modern rockets, modern computers, modern cameras have failed multiple times. India's mission crash-landed. Russia's program collapsed. China is still trying. Yet in 1969, with computers less powerful than your pocket calculator, they did it flawlessly. First try, perfect landing, safe return, broadcast worldwide. The Wright brothers took years of failed attempts before flying 12 seconds, but somehow the moon shot worked out perfectly, start to finish, first time. Every single element, with 1960s technology. You were never taught to question that. So yeah, just think about it for a moment. Everything lined up, first go, back in the 60s, makes you wonder, doesn't it? If this video made you stop and think, even for just a second, this page has more of exactly this. Hit follow right now, because the next video might just change how you see everything.
3 million miles away? I think not. I saw the setup occurring in the cloud patterns from where I was, knowing that tonight would be very likely spectacular to illustrate the placement of the sun in the clouds. And that's also what I'm highlighting here. The position of the sun vanishing from this perspective or setting is considerably more west. It was way over there just even a month ago. Now it's right over here. Take a close look at that cloud that the sun is nestled in the midst of. What do you make of that? The reason why I do this and the reason this is important is simply because of the mass mind control programming that's inundating the population of the world. And I'm one of the individuals that will help you to see this world in a different perspective. That's why I do this. Look at the hot spot in the middle of the top of that cloud. Pretty interesting, isn't it?